It was supposed to be a break. A week of sun, drinks, and laughter, something to shake off the exhaustion of final exams and dead-end internships. They booked the house off an app, a weathered but stylish whitewashed place sitting alone on a jagged stretch of Croatia's Dalmatian coast. The listing called it Tide Glass House. It looked artsy in the photos: sea glass decor, hand-carved driftwood furniture, a deck that overlooked the endless blue. It was remote, sure, but that's what they wanted. No screaming tourists. No crowds. God, it's perfect, Kira breathed as they arrived, her fingers brushing the rough exterior walls. She was the spontaneous one, always booking things on a whim, never reading reviews. She'd convinced the other three to split the cost and just go for it. I swear it looked smaller online, said Lila, the cautious one, squinting at the upper floor windows, which were all sealed shut despite the heat. Where are the owners? No one's here, said Nadia, tall and deadpan. That's the whole point. Self-check-in, remember? Only Zara remained silent. She stared at the shoreline, where the tide gently licked the rocks. Her face, partially hidden beneath her curls, was tight with unease. You good? Kira asked. Zara hesitated. Yeah. Just feels weird. Like we're not supposed to be here. That first night passed in a blur of wine, music, and dancing barefoot on the deck. The sea breeze was salty and warm. Everything felt suspended, like the world had stopped spinning and given them a bubble of time that wasn't real. They laughed louder than usual, drank more than they should. Lila warned them not to swim at night, but of course Kira did, stripping down to her underwear and diving into the moonlit sea with a shriek. Nadia followed. Zara stayed back. She sat on the deck, sipping her wine slowly. Behind her, the house creaked as if something inside it was stretching, waking up. She turned, expecting to see one of the girls behind her. Nothing. The hallway was dark. The windows reflected only her. She didn't sleep much that night. By the third day, the house began to feel wrong. Not overtly. Just little things. Damp towels wouldn't dry. The air inside had a sour, briny smell, like kelp and mildew. Doors seemed to close a little too loudly on their own. The deck chairs shifted position overnight. Lila swore she hadn't moved them, and Nadia laughed it off, saying they must have slid with the wind. Then Zara heard the whispering. It came at night. Barely there. Like someone breathing words just below the threshold of hearing. Did you say something? She asked Kira as they lay in adjacent beds. Their room was upstairs, the only one with a view of the sea. No, Kira mumbled, half asleep. Zara sat up, listening hard. Nothing. Just the creak of old beams and the distant crashing of waves. But then she saw it, on the far side of the beach, beyond the rocks. A figure. Motionless. Watching. She blinked. Gone. When she told the others, they didn't believe her. You were probably just dreaming, Lila offered gently. Too much wine again, Nadia added with a grin. But Kira wasn't laughing. She was standing at the deck railing, staring at the sea. Her voice was quiet. I dreamed it too. A girl. What? She was crawling out of the water. No one said anything for a moment. Then Nadia broke the silence with a scoff and a dismissive laugh. This is why I don't do horror movies. Everyone starts seeing ghosts after 2 glasses of rose. But the tension lingered, clinging to their skin like the sticky sea air. And that night, someone, or something, scratched at Zara's bedroom window. From the outside. Upstairs. The scratch wasn't loud. Just a soft, insistent dragging of something against glass. Zara froze in bed, breath caught in her throat. She slowly turned her head toward the window. The curtains were closed, but pale light from the moon lit the fabric in silver-blue ripples. Another scratch. This time longer. She sat up slowly, heart thudding. A rational part of her brain suggested it could be a branch, except there were no trees near that side of the house. Nothing but jagged cliffs and open sea. Her phone read 2:41 a.m. She reached out and peeled back the curtain. Nothing. Just darkness and the faint shimmer of the tide far below. But her breath fogged the inside of the glass. And on the outside, there was a smear. What? Almost oily. She backed away from the window and didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, Zara was jumpy, silent, eyes sunken with exhaustion. She told Kira and Lila what she heard, what she saw, but Nadia rolled her eyes. I checked the house last night. Doors are locked. There's nothing out there, Nadia said, stretching in the sun like a cat. We're literally in paradise and you two are acting like we're in the ring. Zara didn't respond. She felt like a rubber band pulled too tight. Later, when the others went to the local village to get more supplies, Zara stayed behind. She told them she was nauseous. In truth, she just needed to breathe without pretending. She wandered the house. It was silent except for the soft crackling of sea wind pressing against the old wooden walls. She moved from room to room, uneasy. In the upstairs hallway, she noticed something strange. The wallpaper was peeling in thin strips, the exposed plaster beneath stained with dark, wet blotches. She ran her fingers across it. Salt. The wall was encrusted with salt. She recoiled. That evening, when the girls returned, Lila mentioned something odd. Hey! The old guy at the marina, he asked where we were staying. When we said Tide Glass House, he just looked at us. Didn't say anything else. Just turned and walked away. Probably just weirded out by tourists, Nadia said. These old coastal towns are full of superstitions. Still, Lila said, glancing toward the house. It creeped me out. Later, they all sat on the deck with a bottle of local beverage they'd been gifted by a smiling woman in town. It burned their throats and made them laugh, but underneath the buzz, things felt frayed. Fractured. Kira was quieter than usual. She hadn't mentioned the dream again. But Zara could feel something tightening in her too. I think the house is wrong, Zara said finally, staring out at the darkening sea. Nadia snorted. You're letting the atmosphere get to you. I'm serious, she said, voice low. Something's not right here. Kira looked up suddenly. Have any of you noticed the sea gets closer at night? They all turned to look. The tide had risen again, closer than before, even though the moon wasn't full. It lapped against the edge of the deck stairs. That's not normal, Lila said softly. That night, the power cut out. They were plunged into complete darkness. The house groaned as the wind picked up, slamming the shutters. Lila lit a candle, her hands shaking. And that's when they heard the knock. 3 slow taps. From the back door. Zara's blood turned to ice. Kira stood, lips parted. No one should be out there. Another knock. Louder. The voice. Muffled. What? Just outside. Let me in. I'm still cold. They didn't move. Then the door handle rattled. Lila screamed. Zara backed away from the candle. Don't answer it, she whispered. Don't. But the voice came again. Closer. No longer outside. It was as if it was inside the walls. Inside the house. The voice slithered through the cracks in the walls. I was here before you. I never left. I just want to come back. The 4 girls stood frozen in the dim halo of candlelight. No one breathed. Then the voice stopped. The silence that followed was worse. Nadia, ever the bold one, grabbed a flashlight and flicked it on. I'm checking the doors, she said. It's probably some local pulling a prank. Don't open anything, Lila said, hugging herself. Please. I won't, Nadia said, already walking away. The light bobbed with her steps as she moved through the kitchen and down the narrow back hallway toward the back entrance. Her beam touched the floor and paused. Water. There was a trail of it, starting at the door and snaking inward, like someone had come in, dripping wet. Guys, she called out, voice trembling. There's water inside. Kira's eyes widened. That's not possible. All the doors are locked. Zara was shivering now. Please don't go further, Nadia. Just come back. But Nadia pressed on, drawn like a moth. The wet trail led into the laundry room, empty. Then turned again. The bathroom door stood ajar. Steam curled out of it. Nadia, don't, Kira said, standing now too. But Nadia pushed the door open and shone her flashlight inside. The light caught a shape in the bathtub. Long, tangled. A face. Half submerged. Eyes open. And then, it was gone. A ripple. An empty tub. Nadia stumbled backward, nearly dropping the flashlight. There was someone in there. I swear to God. There was a woman in the bath. The others rushed to her, but the bathroom was empty. No steam. No water. Nothing. Lila turned to Zara. This is what you saw. That's what's been scratching your window. Zara was already nodding. Her eyes were bloodshot. She's not trying to get in. She already has. They barely slept. When morning came, they packed. No discussion. No arguing. Just silent agreement. They needed to leave. But the road was gone. Literally. The winding gravel road that had taken them down to Tide Glass was now completely flooded, the sea swollen inland like a creeping tide had swallowed it. How? Kira said, standing at the water's edge, suitcase in hand. This doesn't make any sense. This isn't even a high tide. They tried calling for help, but there was no signal. The landline inside the house was dead. We wait, Nadia said. We'll hike up to the village if we have to once it's safe. But they all felt it, that waiting was dangerous. That night, they stayed together in the living room, candles burning low. No one wanted to be alone. The house creaked and moaned like an old ship at sea. Lila, ever the researcher, was scrolling through her phone, trying to load the app's page for the house again. A cached version finally came up. She read out loud, slowly. Tide Glass House. Built in 1872. Once belonged to a lighthouse keeper's family, she paused. Then continued in a whisper. His daughter drowned. She used to swim alone every morning. The tide pulled her under. Her body washed up a week later, in the bathtub. No one spoke. Then Lila added, it says the house was removed from the app 2 years ago. After an incident. 2 women staying here. One disappeared. The other was found wandering the shore in shock. Zara stood abruptly. We need to leave. I don't care if we walk through the damn sea. But it was too late. The sea had come in again. Faster this time. The waves licked at the deck steps. Salt spray hit the windows like spit. Then the front door slowly creaked open, though locked. And the house breathed in, as if it had lungs again. The front door stood wide, groaning on its hinges, letting in a sudden blast of cold sea air that blew out every candle in the room. Darkness fell like a shroud. Zara was the first to move. Upstairs. Now. They scrambled, Kira stumbling, Lila clutching the flashlight, Nadia dead silent, jaw clenched. They retreated into the master bedroom, slamming the door and shoving a dresser against it. Outside the tide roared. Then, silence again. Until the dripping began. Rhythmic. From the ceiling. They looked up. A wet stain was spreading across the plaster. Expanding. Zara backed away, her hand over her mouth. She's here, she said. She never left. She's part of this place now. No, Nadia whispered. No, this isn't real. It's a gas leak or mold or, the lights flickered on. Just for a moment. Long enough to see the mirror on the far wall. There was someone standing behind them in it. A girl. Hair plastered to her face. Skin bloated and soft like something left in the sea too long. Then the lights died again. Kira screamed. The door behind them shook violently, once, twice, then again. Something slammed against it, harder each time. Lila clutched the flashlight with both hands, bing. We have to give her what she wants, Zara said suddenly. They all turned. What? Kira asked, breath hitching. She's not trying to hurt us, Zara said. She wants someone to see her. To remember her. That's why she keeps appearing. Reaching out. She almost drowned me. Nadia snapped. She's already drowned, Zara said. She's stuck. And she's making us feel it. Another slam on the door. The walls around them shimmered with condensation. The floor was slick. Their skin was cold, clammy. Everything smelled like rotten salt. Zara walked to the window. What are you doing? Lila asked. But Zara didn't answer. She opened it. The wind screamed in, rattling the room. Salt stung their eyes. And then they heard it, just below, near the edge of the rocks. Singing. A girl's voice. Faint. Broken. like someone singing underwater. Kira joined Zara at the window. Is that real? Zara climbed out before anyone could stop her. She hit the ground hard, knees scraping stone. The wind nearly took her off balance, but she ran toward the sound. The rocks below were slick, the tide impossibly high. The sea churned, angry and gray. But the singing was clearer now. Closer. And then Zara saw her. Just offshore. Waist deep in the surf. The girl was standing still, face turned up. Her eyes were white. Her mouth moved with the song. Zara stepped closer to the edge, tears in her eyes. I see you, she whispered. I see you. The girl stopped singing. She looked at Zara and smiled. Then she began to sink. Slowly, like being pulled by invisible hands. Water swallowed her head, her shoulders, her outstretched arms. Gone. The wind dropped. The sea receded. Behind Zara, the house groaned once more and went still. The road was clear by morning. The air smelled clean for the first time in days. The four of them walked in silence, their suitcases bumping over gravel, eyes hollow but alive. No one spoke of what happened. No one ever would. They made it back to the village. Found a cafe. Ate without tasting. Kira called a taxi. Lila deleted the listing. Nadia stared at the ocean until the ride came. Zara didn't look back. But as the car rounded the bend, she caught a final glimpse of the white house perched above the rocks. And for a split second, just one, she thought she saw the girl again. Standing on the deck. Dry now. Watching them leave.